Doing okay. Perfectly okay.
How are you?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, good to see you again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Alexander. How is the children growing?
Children are growing, yes. Grandchildren. Grandchildren are growing.
Grandchildren, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, my grandson started his school this year.
Oh, really?
First grade, yeah. It's good.
Oh, that's very
What about
good.
you?
Mine is living in The Hague, and he is going to be 2 years old in a couple of days.
Okay.
And there is a new one coming.
Wow.
But unfortunately, I was not able to travel internationally so far. So
Yes.
I'm missing the whole family very much so.
Yeah.
But this will have an end, I hope, in the near future.
Yeah,
Let's see.
we hope. What is the overall situation in Brazil? It's getting better or getting worse?
It depends very much where you are. There are places in Brazil where the pandemic or the epidemic is going down, like, for instance, in the case of Brasilia. But there are other states in the Northeast where the situation is actually escalating. So it depends very much where you are. So in general, if you take the whole country into consideration, the situation is improving. But we don't know exactly what will be the consequences of the second wave, if this is going to happen or not, when the vaccine is going to be available. There are a number of factors that we are not fully aware that might change the situation.
Yeah.
And what's the case in Russia, Alexander?
It's last week it has been worse actually.
I see.
I hope it will be more or less stable in the future and going down maybe in a month or so. We'll see. In Moscow, it's also not very good, but in regions it's getting much worse, I guess, because medicine not at the level of Moscow there, and it might have an impact as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of uncertainty in terms on how to handle the whole situation, the whole, balance between open up, close again, open up, close again, protect the economy, protect the health of the population. It's not easy, but anyway, that's the situation we are all in.
Yeah, we have to do something all together, actually, in this respect, which is good.
This is a global situation, yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
I started to travel within Brazil. I went to the north. Tonight I'm going to the northeast, but taking all the measures to protect myself and the people working with me. But I will travel tonight to the northeast. This is going to be a 2 hour flight.
Yeah,
let's see how it goes.
Okay, so we have 1 minute to start, left to start. So, Андрей Михайлович, вы начнете или мне сначала представить вас, а потом?
Давайте вы
Andrei, will you start or do I introduce you first? So you probably introduce me and then I deliver the welcoming remarks.
So, we have several half a minute left. So
1 minute do.
okay, good afternoon or good morning or good evening to everybody. Yeah, it's a great pleasure for me to open this session devoted. It's a special workshop actually on prospects of science and technology in BRICS countries. Our program changed a little bit. The problem is that yesterday night we have a message from India that both our speakers felt ill with COVID. So we'll miss their presentation. Instead of them, we will have a small presentation by the science attaché from the Indian embassy to Moscow, Dr. Shotri. It will be made after the first introduction speech. And then now let me introduce you Andrei Romanov, the Minister of Science and Higher Education of the Russian Federation. He will say words about vision from Russia. Russia this year is chairing BRICS, and hopefully we will see how science technology develops in Russia. And Mr. Romanov, the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Спасибо.
Thank you. A very good day, a warm welcome to everybody, the organizers and conference participants. On behalf of the Science and Higher Education Ministry of the Russian Federation, I'm pleased to welcome all the participants of the specialists workshop, Prospects of S&T Development in BRICS countries. Can you hear the interpretation?
Yes, we can hear.
Yeah.
In conformity with the presidency of Russia and plan approved by President Putin, we are to come up with greater interaction between academic community of the BRICS country in order to shape global S&T agenda, respond to global challenges, and implement joint S&T and R&D programs. Russia's presidency logo is partnership of BRICS in the interests of global stability, common security, and innovative growth that underscores the innovative activities importance in our five-way cooperation. The main topic of innovation cooperation of BRICS countries under the aegis of Russia's presidency is science, technology, and innovation serving people. The tools of implementing of S&T and I cooperation of BRICS include regular ministers' meetings and senior officials' meetings, working groups, joint R&D projects, fora of young scientists, networks of global research infrastructures, including mega science projects. The S&T cooperation is carried out in the following priority fields. They are as follows: prevention and elimination of natural disasters and relief, water resources and fighting pollution, geospatial technology, new and renewable energy, energy efficiency, astronomy, biotech and biomedicine, including human health protection and neurosciences, information technology and highly productive computing, ocean studies, polar studies and technologies, material studies, including nanotech and photonics. Starting with 2016, the framework program of BRICS on STI cooperation has held regular projects contests. Each year, we're seeing the growing interest from the researchers towards this framework program, thanks to the stable funding earmarked by all the 5 countries as a result of the calls in 2016 to 2019. The framework program gave support to more than 90 projects in 11 thematic fields. The most relevant ones, having biggest demand from the academic community, were material studies and biomedicine. This year, BRICS countries responded promptly to the pandemic of the coronavirus infection, having organized a joint interdisciplinary call of research projects to diagnose and treat COVID-19. I want to emphasize that all of you know that the Russian Federation has come up with the COVID-19 vaccine Sputnik 5. In the autumn, the Russian presidency hosted Young Scientists Forum with the slogan Partnership of Young Scientists and Innovators from BRICS, catering to the scientific progress and handling innovative growth. The forum was held online with 105 delegates participating from Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. For 5 days, they presented their research projects on a special interactive platform on environmental studies, material studies, and artificial intelligence. The rewards, monetary rewards, were given to young innovators that were the winners of the competition. Despite the pandemic, working groups kept meeting online to discuss cooperation in the priority areas. During Russia's 2020 presidency, we have tested the new initiative, New Architecture of BRICS in Science, Technology and Innovation, that was approved by ministers at a meeting last year. The initiative aims to improve coordination of different forms of joint activities in 4 areas: scientific interaction by working groups of BRICS, cooperation in research infrastructures, interaction in innovation, and long-term cooperation with the Young Scientists Fora as part of that. During Russia's presidency, the new impetus was given to Russian initiatives such as Global Network of Research Infrastructures of BRICS, Virtual Photonics Institute of BRICS, and BRICS Network Center for Material Studies and Nanotech. As also we have been able to start using Russian scientific vessels for joint expeditions. I'm convinced that this traditional special webinar will once again become a platform for interesting discussions of the relevant matters of S&T and innovative cooperation between BRICS countries. I wish you fruitful deliberations and work, and stay healthy.
Okay, Mr. Romanov, thank you very much for your speech, for introduction to our workshop. Actually, our next presentation will be made by Dr. Shishir from the embassy, Indian embassy to Moscow. Shishir, please, the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. Good afternoon, all, and greetings to everybody in different time zones. It's a great pleasure to be here at this BRICS forum. I'm sorry, my colleague who was supposed to make a presentation from TIFAC, India, Dr. Gautam Goswami, is down with COVID, and he could not join. So in his place, I'm there to share a small presentation and a little bit of insight. I'm just sharing the screen. Is it full screen now?
Not yet, not full screen. Yes, now it's okay. Fantastic.
So as the thematic post-pandemic opportunities under the BRICS, BRICS strength, we all know, we have all been deliberating on these points. Largest market size, offering a lot of possibilities to the world. Low cost of innovation is a very important aspect. All these countries have been innovating at a very low cost. Venture capital investment all around, highly talented and technical manpower, and of course leveraging India through the value-added change, and with now the Atmanirbhar Bharat. TIFAC, our organization, lead organization, has created a Foresight document, just like the Higher School of Economics in Russia. And this Foresight document is valid for technologies which are to be pursued for 2035. It includes a whole lot of technologies which under the BRICS Working Group Forum we are pursuing: energy, water, food, and many other areas. And there is a lot of opportunity to do and undertake this joint collaborative effort together. Higher School of Economics and other leading countries, organizations from other BRICS countries have also developed similar foresight documents. And there's a lot of synergy which can be created in the joint effort towards sustainable and effective societal, which makes a societal and economic impact in these countries through scientific interventions. Some of these enabling technologies involve in education, as you are aware, AI, cognitive science, medical science and healthcare, telecom, sensors, IoT for societal solutions, energy, clean energy, renewables, environment, waste management, and SDG, transportation with new fuels, fuel cell, infrastructure with solar, roads and other aspects, and ICT, which is the main driver these days for digital transformation. So digital transformation is, of course, developing into a whole lot of domains, which is into telecommunication, software, which is being monitoring and distribution of tasks, which is now a reality after COVID. Other aspects of industry where digital transformation is taking place, including energy sector, including transportation, and many other sectors. Digital transformation and these technologies are also enabling administration, cloud democracy, predictive model, enabling sustainable development and pollution control. And finally, it is leading towards Society 5.0, health and prosperity. We all have a big chance to collaborate in all these domains and make a greater impact. Technology push and pull studies are done by organizations like Higher School of Economics over the last 2-3 days. And now in future also, you've been seeing some excellent presentations from various experts which have been collated by Higher School of Economics. And these studies are very important for aiding the technology push, the technology commercialization programs, and to promote the solution providers and the solution seekers. So in effect, the aim of these studies, or the aim of this convergence by documents and by studies like what Higher School of Economics and TIFAC does, is to converge all these stakeholders together and make an impactful implementation. Well, talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, with the COVID pandemic and with the clarion call of our Honorable Prime Minister, we have been making a focused intervention into many of the areas with the STI linkages all around, many projects in R&D, developing skill and infrastructure and knowledge diffusion and entrepreneurship. So here is an effort which is ready to create a global as well as locally impactful ecosystem, which with our scientific effort on this side. This cloud you can see has a collaboration. It can have a collaboration from BRICS and many other multilateral forums, and to create a sustainable ecosystem of collective STI interventions to make a collective effort on the society and the economies of these countries. Well, some of the strategies which are very important for future, which have been discussed very recently in many of the lectures which I talked about in the workshop organized by Higher School of Economics, is skill development is very important in the high technology domain. Manufacturing and integration of this skill is very important. A joint effort by one and all, especially the BRICS Forum, to promote joint programs for global issues with STI interventions and governmental support is very important. Mission mode projects looking at the grassroots level impact are very, very important. And many of these studies and the papers show that there is a requirement of maintaining a database and updating the availability of technologies dynamically, by central locations. And these studies are very important for that. And there's a need to maintain this database and dynamically develop it for creating convergence and creating synergies amongst these countries. Integrating the STI ecosystem is very important. The Minister, His Excellency, just talked about the Young Scientist Forum And BRICS STEEP also has many of these innovative, to bring together the innovation stakeholders together. Many of these opportunities are there. There are many solutions all around already within us, which can be cannibalized within existing technology available, and new offerings and solutions can be made with the help of various partners all across to make an impact, which we are all aiming for. So this was my short presentation and a short insight, and we are there to work together towards all the goals which have been envisaged for BRICS Scientific Council, and we are all there to promote these activities together to make world a better place. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Excuse me. Okay, Dr. Schrotters, thank you very much for your introduction, and you made it. You made a brilliant speech with a very short notice. So we appreciate it very much. So our next presenter is Alexander Chichulak from the High School of Economics, Moscow. Alexander, please, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, dear friends, dear colleague. It's a pleasure to be here and to welcome you. So let me start the presentation. Is it in the full screen mode, I guess? Yes, so everything is fine. Do you see it? All right, so I'd like to give a short speech about bioeconomy. And you can see I even choose a bioenvironment here to present. So I think it's a real very important, a high-level priority in a post-pandemic society what we face. And before we start, I'd like to share with you ideas about what challenges our policy face and how we could meet these challenges. So I choose five no's about our current situation. So we've got no time to think and react. We already should be prepared to the situation. I mean that the velocity is dramatically increased, and velocity of stakeholders and demand for solutions. As for solutions, we've got no silver bullet. Standard and traditional instruments or policy mix are no longer relevant, and we have to search for another components of a policy mix conception. We also got no one recipient, and the domino effect is very important in all we face now, and changes in one sector or S&T sphere will lead to changes in another very fast. We've got no clear subject. All our markets and technologies are cross-sectoral, cross-national, and we have to find different subjects on correspondence to different sectors. And finally, we've got no stability. We move from the era of global challenges that we face last 10 years to the era of wild cards and the race of uncertainty. To face some external changes, we move from different types of foresight 1.0, 2, 3, what else? And expectations from policymakers are also very tough. They want evidence-based policy, answers to what-if questions, understand how to find priorities and integrate it into smart policy decisions. From the other side, fortunately, we've got some possibilities as researchers, as think tanks, to help our clients. As we've got multidisciplinary and multicultural research, and such seminar with BRICS representatives is a very important communication platform for that. We integrate different methods, and I'll show you how we move forward in High School of Economics here. We use big data analytics, and for sure we have to provide more communication platforms for stakeholders engagement. Before I start, I'd like to share this funny picture. It's 120 years old. And do you see any relevance with us, dear colleagues? I guess that it's quite close that we face now. And it's a question: do we predict the future, and is it hard to predict the future? What instruments should we use to find good solution for our future? Before we understand what global trends constitute bioeconomy and why it is very important as a priority for post-COVID society, I'd like to stress your attention to Nobel Prize winners for economics, for a wide range of different schools, and you see how they move from purely dynamic mathematical models to more sophisticated understanding of economic and institutional change, asymmetric information, and finally a Nobel Prize by Paul Romer and William Nordhaus about greenhouse effect and technological innovations. So we see, even if we take such proxy for policymakers, that the demand for future studies is raising from pure macroeconomic forecasts to more sophisticated policy mix. And I think that to move to Foresight 3E, it should be ethical, ecological, and ecosystemic. And within this, we in Higher School of Economics, we use blended foresight methodology, which is based on convergence between evidence-based, expert, and creativity methods, including big data analytics. And the first picture I'd like to show you is a screenshot from our I4 system. It got lots of different documents, and I'd like to show you the print screen of landscape of global trends. You see that each group of trends is colored and how systemic and sophisticated it is. So we've got a different trends that constitute our values, demographics, science, technology, innovation, economic, social, ecology. And I purely understand that maybe it's quite hard to get this picture from your monitors, even you've got a big screen. So just a few detailed information about, say, climate change. Just one trend that is very important for BRICS countries and for bioeconomics itself. You see how sophisticated global trends are and how different are them. And another example is for Internet of Things, which is also very important for all our countries, and it is included in all priorities. You see how strong the linkages are with Internet of Things and smart city, and cities and mega cities are one of priorities for ecologically friendly growth, sustainable growth, and for BRICS as well. So I mean that if we want to constitute new policy agenda, it should be based on a very good instruments like I4, for example, and we should move from just top lists of global trends, say top 10 or top 20, to landscapes of global trends and try to understand the whole peculiarities there. But we've got two wild cards. The first is pandemic, and second is low oil prices. And I think that as economist, and I think that low oil prices could be more systemic and more dramatic than even COVID in a long-term perspective. And we are just in a part of understanding what it will be. So I'd like to share with you a few basic hypotheses and key questions, which we should together put into our agenda and try to find them when we talk about bioeconomy and about the priority of it is. So the first is a shift in the production paradigm. We see that we move from economy of scale to 3D printing and perspective technologies, and we see how they should be ecologically friendly and bio-friendly, which is also very important for our countries. We see the radical transformation or revision of global value chains, and frankly, I think that we've got a good window of opportunity to create our own global change, because others are stopped or even got an abuse regime because of lockdowns, because of different policy turbulences. So we really could consider idea about our personal global change. We move to action economy, which is very important. So just knowledge economy is not enough. We should move to the action. Finally, we should understand what changes in employment will be. And in Russia, for example, we take it as a very serious question, because as we understand, due to new technologies and due to Internet of Things or 3D printers or total digitalization, you could fire people, but what social consequences will you face if you do it? And I think that this is a very important question for our countries. And finally, it's a new educational model. Will it be an old school or Zoom educational model? In trying to understand this key hypothesis, I think that 3 questions are very important. First is the when, not what. I think that last 10 years and our conferences, our Foresight conferences as well, they contributed to this discussion a lot. So I guess that a discussion about what technologies we should implement is not a question enough. We know, we all know almost the same technologies, and they are synchronized with each other. So the question is not about what technologies, but the question is who and when will do it the first, implement them the first. We'll see how technocratic approach will struggle with social humanistic approach. And I think that investments in medicine and biotechnologies should be in the center of new priorities for BRICS countries. And finally, it's the question about social lifts and social lens and social elevators for all our people. And getting to bioeconomy and to synchronizing it with priorities for BRICS countries, I think that it could be 5 components on the bioeconomy 2.0. Components about demand, supply, infrastructure, science, technology, innovation, and regulation. It's more in Russian about them, and I'll continue in English. We are writing a book in Springer, which will be next year, I guess, about bioeconomy as itself. And I'd like to share with you a few ideas about global trends for such bioeconomy. So first, we see the shifts in consumer patterns, especially for new immune foods, for healthy style, for transport, for mobility, and I think that such shifts in demand will face everything dramatically. Then we see how possible fall in GDP and GDP per capita in our countries could face ideas about new economy and global challenges. For sure, changes in energy sector will go in depth into supply and into deeper understanding of the global trends and drivers for bioeconomy. We should find a balance between ethics and ecologically friendly priorities for companies, regions, and for economies as itself. I think that increase in medicine expenditures, especially in social medicine, will drive the bioeconomy 2.0. We've got an estimation that it could be about $8 trillion by 2025, and it's a very huge amount. Maybe some freeze or slowdown of big infrastructural projects that we face could hamper dynamics for bioeconomy, and we should also take it into consideration. I see, and I already told about this, about dramatical changes in global value chain and logistics, which is very important. As for STI policy, I think that we should, first of all, go into understanding the decrease of activities and the role of government. And it's very important that we in Russia are trying to boost it. The role of government is very important here in increasing such STI activity. I say that it will be a struggle between total and smart digitalization. From my point, we should even go for smart, not total digitalization, just for being digital. And the last 2 trends are also very important. We see that there will be changes in national priorities towards social, sustainability, and security. Security in a very broad context: product security, cyber security, health security, national security, and this will be a new trend. And finally, maybe we'll see possible decline in transition to non-carbon and circular economy. I know that European countries are trying to use a green term to boost development of European economy, but we'll see in a short and longer term perspective how low oil prices and the oil lobby will struggle with green ideas. So getting to answer the question, so now what should we do? I think that BRICS as an institution, BRICS as a cooperation of countries, BRICS as a cooperation of researchers could do 5 things right now. We could start a foresight for the whole understanding how we could find our place under the sun into such turbulent situation. Then we go for priorities that we set. Create a system of technological roadmaps, including their correspondence to implementational tools. And then go to monitoring and evaluation. I think that such 5 blocks are very important for getting to new ideas and new understanding of competitive advantages for our economy. And finally, in the beginning of my presentation, I used several funny pictures, and I'd like to show another funny picture here. So it's from Russian test for babies and children, and the question is, please identify who is doing wrong activity and why. And the first idea is that you should say that the grandma shouldn't play with toys, and you see that everybody is doing not what we should do. But the best answer from the internet was everything is okay because everyone is happy and doing its own activity. So I think that in the high turbulence world that we face, when almost all world's organizations and experts say that we don't know how we face the future, this is the best answer to all the questions. So thanks a lot, and see you. I'm ready to answer questions if you have.
Okay, thank you very much, Alexander. Actually, I know that Alexander will leave our session after his presentation because of other businesses. So please ask your questions now. One of the questions is already there, in chat, so you can have a look at it and reply.
Yeah, I see from our big friend Jose Cardeiro. Jose, nice to read you. What about Russia itself or oil and gas in the future? Well, first of all, I'd like to say that oil and gas could be also very innovative. And we know how the innovative activity in such sector is rising. Another idea is if we try to identify the whole carbon footprint in alternative energy, renewable sources, for example. For example, it's quite huge, and it could be bigger than in the oil and gas sector, which is very interesting. So I think that generally we should use. I mean Russia, because the question was about Russia. I think that we should use our competitive advantage that we got in oil and gas. But you know, you could do almost everything from the oil. Not only crude oil and not only using it for gasoline, for example. The same story is about the crops, for example, in agriculture. You could do everything, including bioplastics from crops, but not only using it for export. Anyway, I think that as for green term and green perspective, I think that Russia anyway is moving to green topic. And just a few weeks ago, we've got a law signed by our President Putin, who decided that we should decrease emissions of carbon. And I think it's also good news.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions, comments maybe? That's all, that we'll continue with the next presentation. Thank you very much, Alexander. So
Thanks a lot. See you.
our next presentation will be made by Professor Yuan Like from the Chinese Academy of Science and Technology for Development. I know that this institution is engaged very much in development of national science technology for foresight in China. So, Yuan, we are looking forward to your presentation. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, it can. Is it okay?
Share screen. You should use.
The screen is okay.
Not yet. We see you.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
It's okay now. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. My topic is characters of the press of the 6th National Technology Foresight in China. The first, yes, I think this, yes, it's full screen. Yeah. First one, I will introduce the history of the technology foresight program in China. The foresight research and practice started after the reform and the opening up in China. In the 1980s, there was a foresight agency in the State Science and Technology Commission, the former of the Minister of Science and Technologies. But in that stage, the foresight research mainly focused on the economic and social development. After the 1990s, China began to focus on the industry structure adjustment and the technology development, especially the role of the technologies in economics and social development. The second and the third and the fourth technology foresight in China was a process of continuing improvement of the theories and the methodologies. The 5th National Technology Foresight launched in 2013, covered the 14 technology fields and has completed the comparison of the technology competition between the China and the leading countries and the technology service and the selection of key technologies. At last, 100 key technologies, national key technologies were selected, and including 40 major breakthrough technologies and 60 major benefit, including the social benefit and the economic benefit, 10 technologies, and 10 disruptive technologies and 10 non-consensus technologies, which became an important reference for the 13th 5 technology and the science technology plannings. Now we are in the process of the 6th technology foresight programs. At present, the work has been preliminarily completed. Yes. This is the process of the national technology foresight in China. According to the process of national technology foresight and the context in all stages, first we will analysis future economics and social development, and make an evaluation of the technology levels. Then we organize experts to have a full discussion and choose a list of the alternative technologies to join the service. In the 2-round therapy service, we collect the opinions from our experts from different departments, organized field key technologies, selecting meetings and national key technology selecting meetings, confirmed the major key technologies that would enforce economic and social development in the future. Because of the limited manpower, there are only 10 experts, researchers in our institute. So we just focused on the 3 stages: evaluation, survey, and the selections. In the other 2 stages, the vision analysis and the roadmap research, we will organize the expert training class, and the main tasks are completed by the field research group. This is more detailed information about the process of the national technology foresight activities. I think in China, I think there's a strong organization is a typical characters of the technology foresight. The leading group is headed by the Minister of Science and Technology, and the leaders of the other ministers and commissions, such as Ministry of Education, Ministry and Industry and Information Technologies, Minister of the Agriculture and Chinese Academy of Science, and so on. The leaders are members of the leading group. And the experts in the overall research group are mainly composed of the experts from the planning department and the strategies experts in various fields. And the different group has different responsibilities. In order to ensure the smooth flow of the information between the different levels, organization, different levels group, a working mechanism of the field liaison officers have been established. They are 3 officers, one from from my institute, and 1 member from the relevant department of the Ministry of Science and Technologies, and 1 member of the field research group. They are responsible for the communication and the coordination of the combinations. The technology forecast, foresight is divided into the 3 stages: evaluation, investigation, and selections. On the basis of the comprehensively scanning the international frontier development in accordance with China's strategy needs and resource endowment, the future development priorities are determined, which not only identifies the technology leading the future development, but also clarifies directions to fill the gap between the leading countries. In addition to the strategy experts and the technical experts in various fields, we also should further expand the proportion of the enterprise experts, the experts from the industries, also as a department and the public, so as to integrate the opinion of the different stakeholders. The technology foresight will fully consider the characters of the high cross-cuttings and deep in integrating the technologies in multiple fields on the basis of technology foresight. In traditional fields, experts from the multiple fields are organized to carry out the interdisciplinary research on key directions, so as to further promote the future development trends of the interdisciplinary technologies and find some of the disruptive technologies. Yeah, our institute also hosts the various conference on technology foresight. I think the experts from the who attend this conference here also participate in the above some of the conferences, such as Puzhang Innovation Forum, and experts from the Russian, such as Professor Alexander and Japan and other countries, as well as the international famous think tank, such as elsewhere, were invited to make a special report. Yes. In China, the Delphi investigation and the expert discussion and the expert meeting are still our core methodologies. In technology, especially in the technology evaluation stages, we come also, of course, we also will attach importance to the objective analysis. In the technology evaluation stages, we combined with the SWIR group to do the statistical analysis of the literature and the patent. Then the result will be feedback to the field research group to help determine the list of the alternative technologies. Before the, sorry. Oh, sorry. Before the Delphi investigation, we also will hold various expert meetings. For example, in the field of the new materials, technology 6 industry association includes the iron and steel, light industry, and the building materials were fully involved. And the 14 symposium were held in North China, Northeastern China, and other regions to discuss the list of the alternative technologies in the field and widely solicited in the opinions of the experts. This is the expert structure of the six technology foresight programs. We can see this chart shows that the more than 20 of the experts were from the industry sectors, but the different technology fields have different expert structures. Generally speaking, in the field of the high-end new technologies, the proportion of the experts from industries the participating is higher, and the number of the enterprise experts in the field of social development is relatively small. I think it can be understood in the field of environment, public security, and such as resource. Experts are mainly concentrated in the universities and research institutions. In terms of the composition of the overall research group and the field research group, we will require more than 30% experts from the industry sectors. These experts often meet together to discuss and including selecting the technology list and discussing the technology trends and make a vision analysis. At last, we will pay more attention to the traditional China's phenomenon about science and technology plannings. I think in China, is a typical case for the plannings. Now, currently, it is developing the 14th 5-year plan and the new round medium and long-term science and technology plannings. This plans mainly include 4 integrating factors, namely the situation and the targets and the priorities of development and the supportive measures. I think the natural science and technology is also that has some of the weakness, especially the lack of the implementation tools for top-level design of the national science and technology plannings. It's isolation between the project and the strategy researchers. The former is made from the top to bottom, and the latter is from the bottom to top. In the technology, in the national technology foresight, we basically consider it to combine combines research on over strategy research of science and technologies plannings and the proposal of the list of technology projects in accordance with the technology foresight and the next national key technology selections. This is 2 ways. And we will to answer 2 questions. Just the national technology roadmap is key technologies to conduct systematic studies of the country's strategic needs and the technology trends. Selected key technologies necessary to ensure the future international competitiveness and the technology development approach, and the national research plan to determine realizing the country's strategic tasks. This is all the process of our national technical foresight activities. Now, at the national levels, the Ministry of Science and Technology has formed a long-term systematic and continuous mechanism to carry out the national technology foresight. The Chinese Academy of Science and the Chinese Academy of Engineering, Chinese Association for Science and Technologies, as well as the National Natural Science Foundation of China and other relevant institutions, according to the nature of their own units. On the one hand, focused on the medium and long-term technology foresight to provide support for the science and technology plannings. The National Technical Foresight, organized by the Ministry of Science and Technology, is mainly focused on the short-term and the medium-term plannings. The short-term foresight, about near 5 years, correspond to China's 5 years planning cycles, which is mainly issued from the current actual situations. It can make a core accurate judgment on the future technology development trends and can directly serve the plannings, the industry and the public. The medium-term foresight, about 10 to 15 years, is more important for the selection of science and technology plan and the technology priority areas, because 10 to 15 years corresponds to the time required for a new field from development to achievement, and is also a cycle of extensions of the growth of the new fields. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your very interesting presentation. I must say that our next presentation will be exactly at 4 o'clock on Moscow time in 6 minutes. So we can use this 6 minutes for question and answers. One of the questions is already there. You can see it in chat. Meanwhile, I have many questions actually, and I would like to make it clear because the presentation was very rich. And please, maybe you will ask the first question, which is on the chat. Do you see it?
Okay. Can I have a question?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much. However, I just joined this conference late. I mean, today late, but as far as I was sort of like foresight expert in the past, in the first national foresight program in my country. So during this last 5 years, so we were looking for a good benchmarks in the world to find this kind of like good national foresight models, especially in STI, so science and technology and innovation. But the things that I have a question from this last presenter is, in terms of the STI policies, can you say that China wants to go in a mission-based policies or diffusion-based policy? I mean that it is mostly these kind of policies is based on the, I mean, science push or market pull, or it's mixed. because as far as, for example, in France, you are sort of like mission based, so they have like sort of Airbus and this kind of technology, key technologies. But I want to know that in China, which kind of like aspect, which kind of policies is taken in the future, like in a mission based policies or diffusion based? It is market pull, or it's a science push, or is it market pull? Thank you.
Yes, it's a very good questions. I think in China, my institute has launched the national technology programs. It's mainly service for the plannings, but in science technology or plannings, they are also concluding some of the another support measures, such as law, such as technology transformations and diffusions. Or will some of another think tanks will be initiated the different aspect of the industry policies and technology policies to support the plannings. Our institute is only focused on the technologies, the trends. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. One question is in the chat.
Yes.
What will be different in the next seventh science technology foresight? This is the question.
Well, yes, it's a good question. In the next foresight program, we will focus on the big data analysis. Maybe we can make a good cooperation with HSE, with the IFRA systems. Yeah, I learned some of these systems. It's very useful for the future analysis, and especially not only the technology trends and the economic trends and the society development and so on. So I think the big data analysis is the future methodologies we will be focused on. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, very well. More questions? No. If no more questions, I will ask maybe my question. Yeah. Actually, I have many questions, but one of them is how you address social issues, social challenges in your science technology foresight, because what I noticed is more focused on industrial development, new products. But what about social, societal technologies aimed at increasing social development?
You mean the social technologies?
I mean, how you address problems of the society?
Yeah.
In your S&T Foresight.
I mean, you mean you're talking about democratizing, how you democratize the foresight in China? Yes. I mean, socialized foresight.
No. It's not. I'm just asking about social issues, how these new challenges for society are addressed by science technology foresight.
Yeah. We in the social the challenges, it is our weakness for our institute, but we will do this. I think we will have this project with another universities. In the fifth technology foresight activities, we combined with the Nankai universities to develop some of the scenario analysis and the vision analysis to find out the nearly futures foresight, society foresight in the future. Find some of the challenges and weakness of the China's situation in the future. So in my institutions, there is a limited to do this this aspect. Yeah.
I see. Okay, thank you very much for your very exciting, interesting presentation. A lot of things to think about. So our next presentation will be made by Ninel Sinyuk, who represents the Moscow UNIDO office. Ninel, please, the floor is yours. Are you with us?
Yeah.
She must be here.
Rasma is
Yes. Okay, great.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear very well.
Good afternoon, colleagues. It's my pleasure to be here second time. So we will try to create this synergy, right? So now it's quite difficult to do it through internet connection, but once you learn it, then you can try to get it and to get this feeling. So I would like to show results of our research. It is. I'm sorry, just one second. So it was joint research of Higher School of Economics and UNIDO Center in Russia. And we last year, for example, we were focusing on small and medium-sized innovative enterprises. We were using residents of Skolkovo Innovation Center, and we've created certain questionnaire in terms of barriers for startups, on collaboration in regional global value chains, which can potentially lead to participation into global value chains. So we've decided that global value chains, this is our sphere, and especially small and medium-sized enterprises, their participation in global value chains, that needs our attention and our help, right? That governments, our integrated efforts of all the BRICS governments can help small and medium-sized enterprises to collaborate and to potentially to lead global economy, global innovative economy in near future. So as I mentioned from the beginning, that we were focusing on different aspects of this collaboration, and this time we've decided to use proper UNIDO approach and decided to show what exactly BRICS countries can do from industrial perspective, because UNIDO, as all of you may know, it's a global it's global organization led by United Nations, right? It's United Nations Industrial Development Organization. So it has very industrial vision on collaboration into this sphere, and we've decided to, first of all, to identify that there is no there is a lack of a standardized methodology to evaluate the participation of a country in global value chains and the readiness to be integrated into global value chains. It is very related to broader problems of global value chains research, and we can say that global all our players, BRICS players, they have lack of consensus or even over definition and measurement of the global value chains. First, while production factors, such as, for example, land, labor, capital, and so on, are directly measurable, and it can easy to classify and help them to classify. Production activities are based on factor content embodied in various products according to a uniform standard. Therefore, unlike production factors, they are not directly measurable. And also it is very important that it is difficult to have a large internationally consistent database for all BRICS countries, and there is a how to say potential gap for our collaboration of our researchers, of policymakers, of TNC representatives to create this common database for collaboration in this sphere. So, however, both these databases are constructed following a trade logic, which we have for now. It's provided by TIVO. And we have, instead of an industrial logic, so we have lack of industrial approach in collecting data in this sphere, which is one of the UNIDO interest. So moreover, the construction and application of multi-region input-output tables is problematic because it requires combining national tables with different definitions of industries. And that's why actually we've decided to use economic complexity index provided by researchers at Harvard University's Growth Lab. This index used 133 countries. They have been ranked based on how diversified and complex the export basket is. So countries that are home to a great diversity of production know-how, particularly complex specialized know-how, are able to produce a great diversity of sophisticated products. So the complexity of a country's export is highly correlated to current income levels and future development prospects. Where complexity exceeds expectations for a country's income level, the country is predicted to experience more rapid growth in the future. Economic complexity index provides a useful measures of economic development. And here you can see our first findings. It's about Brazil using this economic complexity index data. First of all, Brazil is currently ranked, and I am sorry, colleagues, but all this data, of course, it's pre-pandemic. As may all of you know that normally we have like around 2 years gap in between current data and data which we can use for our analysis. So all this data is pre-pandemic. Brazil currently ranked as 48th, the most complex country in this index. This is due to a fall of 5 positions in the rank, mostly due to a lack of diversification on its exports, most of which are composed by low complexity groups in the agriculture and mineral sectors. Despite this fall on the ranking, Brazil is still considered more complex than expected for its economical level, and the Growth Lab's 2027 growth projections expect 3.4% annual growth in the coming years. As to its industrial sector, it can be classified as a balanced portfolio with a industrial policy approach. This means that growth can be pursued by addressing bottlenecks and then jumping short distances into related products. The most important sectors on the themes of diversification, complexity, and opportunity are the chemical sector and also industrial machinery. Russia. Russian Federation, based on data provided by this index, Russia's economy complexity is ranked 49th out of 133 countries in the ranking. Such a low spot in the index is caused by a big share of export falling to low complexity goods, like minerals, for example, oil, gas, and coal, accounting for more than 50% of the whole Russian export, combined with agriculture, 8% to agriculture. On the contrary, we observe a small share of high complexity sectors like ICT, 6.5%, iron and steel, 4.7%, and most complex sectors of industrial machinery, 1.63%, and apparatuses less than 0.5%. Nevertheless, it should be noted that Russia's mineral resources export accounts for 9% of the world market. Analysis of most feasible opportunities based on economy complexity for Russian economy highlights the following. First of all, in terms of high complexity goods, electronic machinery and equipment, along with industrial machinery, demonstrate highest complexity, but also biggest distance. Second, lower complexity, but also shorter distance is observed among chemical products, namely pharmaceuticals, organic chemicals, and plastics. And the third, from leading industries, vehicles appear to be closed, but also less complex than the later. In terms of analysis of opportunity gain, the leading industries are the same, with highest potential gain from industrial machinery, followed by pharmaceuticals, apparatuses, electronic machinery, and equipment. Also, new product opportunities based on potential gain and complexity are grouped in the following sectors, such as chemicals, metals, electronics, and machinery and vehicles. India. India's economy has been constantly growing in terms of GDP per capita and become more complex. It ranks 45 on the economic complexity index. This trend is said to continue, seeing as the Indian economy is more complex than expected, given its level of income. According to the data, export-driven growth primarily relies on the complexity, which is where India falls somewhat short. So the ICT and travel and tourism sectors, both classified as moderate complexity, have contributed the most to its growth. By contrast, India's global market share of textile and other low productivity sectors has remained stagnant over the past 10 years, which indicates the economy's resistance to structural transformation, whereby resources are relocated to high productivity sectors such as electronics or machinery. Services also play an important role in India's upward trajectory. This means that there is a broad potential for moving into increasingly complex goods and services and pursuing a light, tough approach. Also, areas showing particular promises are industrial machinery and plastic. China. I guess it will be quite interesting for our Chinese colleagues to hear it, that Chinese economy has been growing at a rapid speed. I mean, before pandemic. please keep this in mind, that it's not latest data. Maybe still we have very bright future, right? For based on my presentation. Its economic reform starting from its economic reform in 1980s, and as a result, not only has its GDP per capita increased swiftly, but also economic complexity index ranking also jumped from 51st in 1995 to 19th in 2017. So it's a very, very impressive path. The improvement in complexity was driven by China's effort to diversify export, which is supported by the country's incredible production capability and versatility. And also China is considered to be more complex than expected for its economical level, and anticipates to see a growth of 6.1% annually over the coming decade, according to the Growth Lab's 2027 growth projections. Currently, the structure of China's export industrial product sectors is still heavily based on electronics, machinery, textile, chemicals, and metals. However, due to the implementation of policies of high-grade precision and advanced industries at the state and municipal levels, electronics and chemicals have become increasingly important over the past decade. And last but not least, it's quite interesting, South Africa. So South Africa is classified as an upper middle income country, but its economy reflects regional trends in that it has not grown in the past 5 years, while at the same time economy becoming more less complex. It now ranks 65th, a fall largely owed to a failure to diversify exports. These circumstances have had an adverse effect on future development, with projections foreseeing slow growth. As outlined above, economies tend to grow faster when exporting highly complex goods and services, while South Africa's largest exports are moderate and low complexity products, namely stone and minerals. Similarly to India, it has yet to undergo a more fundamental redistribution of resources from lower to high productivity sectors. This, however, provides ample opportunity for growth by following a light touch strategy and leveraging existing successes to enter more complex production. So some suggested avenues for development are plastics and paper, and also paperboard. Here, we've decided to combine table of small and medium-sized enterprises thresholds among BRICS countries based on employment and revenue. So we were trying to create certain level of common understanding in between BRICS countries on small and medium-sized enterprises. Because as you can see, all countries, they have different understanding of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. What is it? What are their revenue, amount of employees, and so on. And we were trying to create a unified table on that. Also, here from this slide, you can see the main barriers for small and medium-sized enterprises within BRICS group. You can divide them into a few main parts. The first one is financial. It includes accessing of finance and also management of finance. The second one is skill. Very important is specialized staff. So basically we have a lack of professionals in this sphere. And then organizational structure, which also can include division of labor and specialization following concrete strategy for growth. Also administrative and regulatory barriers. It includes contract rules and enforcement, targeted policies, and also regulatory standards. Following this idea, we've created a group of potential BRICS SME linkages programs, which exist through all BRICS countries. The first one is small and medium-sized enterprise centers, which offer a wide array of service and design for SMEs. Then matching services, networking events. A few of them, they've been supported by UNIDO and World Bank, especially it is very popular. Those programs are very popular in China. SME portals, we have a few of them within BRICS group, supplier databases, training and supplier development initiatives, SME solutions initiatives, and also multinational enterprises specialist secondments, which can provide financial and organizational support for small and medium-sized enterprises. So here I will exclude this part about stagnation and need for structural transformation, which is very important part of our research, but due to limitation of the speech, I will exclude it. But you're more than welcome to email me, and I think our organizers also can share this presentation. And I will go directly to the key findings. Developing economies and global value chains, the main challenges for the BRICS economies. The first one is the first very important issue. It's basic capabilities. I think this is the most common problem within BRICS countries, and we have to collaborate on how to avoid and how to exchange information in this sphere. So first of all, it's basic capabilities. The production capabilities requires for absorbing, deploying, and diffusing advanced production technologies along supply chains. Then the second one is retrofitting and integration. The third one is digital infrastructure. The fourth one, the digital capability gap in supply chain. As other stages may not be using advanced production technology. And the last but not least, access and affordability, going back to the cost and need to import these technologies and the dependence of the providers of software and hardware. So here I'm raising my hand. We are looking for potential collaborators, for potential partners in all BRICS countries, universities, and other institutions within BRICS to continue this research and to fulfill it with current data. And also, I mentioned as I mentioned from the very beginning, we have some gap for potential collaboration in creating this database, and I guess our organizers can lead this potential research, and also all of us can contribute to that. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Nil. We are a little bit out of schedule, so I immediately give the floor to Professor Zhao Xinli from Chinese Science Technology Exchange Center and the Eurasian Academy. How we call it? I'm sorry. The Eurasian Academy, International Eurasian Academy of Science. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, Xinli, the floor is yours. Please go ahead. Xinli, are you with us? So we don't see.
No, as I understand, he is absent. Currently, his floor, his seat is empty.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about this. Okay, it's a pity. So I don't know what happened. Okay, probably within if anybody has questions to the presentations we had, please you can ask it. You can ask them now. The questions. If there are no questions, then probably we'll make a break now. It is planned for 20 minutes, but I guess we can. Okay, we can make a break right now, and we'll meet here in 25 minutes. 10 minutes to 5 Moscow time. Okay.
Okay, Alexander.
See you all in 25 minutes. Okay.